You know how naive you sound.
Why?
Senators and presidents don't have men killed.
Oh. Who's being naive, Kay?
Yeah, all right. Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to the front row. The front row at the Freak Show. I am your host, Steve Crafts. But as always, you can call me Crafty. And I'd like to know that joining me very shortly, still working in the intro part, but yes, joining me shortly as what I was trying to say, which will usually be the case from now on out, will be the Adamizer. So we'll be checking in with the Adamizer very soon. But I did have...
I'm here.
Oh, Adamizer's here. Okay, all right, he's here. All right, he's good. How you doing, Adamizer?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing all right. But I was, I had to start off with a couple of words about post episode 1 with Crafty and the Adamizer, as as I had informed you. When I uploaded last week's podcast to YouTube, a task that does require some effort, mind you. I have to download it, put it through the video, audio suite that I have, render it in the right format, and then upload it to YouTube with the show links, notes, tags, all 9 yards.
Hey, nothing worth doing is ever easy, right?
That's right. But so I'm talking a little bit of work here. I'm not trying to say I parted the Red Sea or anything, but probably more effort than, say, Beyonce puts into making one of her albums. But anyway, I get all that done, and I'm excited, right? Episode 1 with the Adamizer, feeling good, ready to start sharing it like cocaine at a Jack Horner party, and I get it posted, and obviously get it posted to the website, do all that stuff. But let me tell you something. Quicker than the Jason Biggs character blew his nut in American Pie, YouTube blocked the video, the podcast, for friggin' copyright violation.
Nazi bastard.
Yeah, right? And not just one either. Oh, no, 4 copyright violations. I got Dylan's people, the Rolling Stones people, Johnny Cash's people, and I even apparently got the former vice president and former president LBJ's people after me, or on me and after me. I don't know, like some girl after a drunken bareback one-night stand. But it's so damn frustrating on so many levels. Almost like trying to do a Rubik's Cube while tripping. And not only tripping, but tripping on like that brown, bad Woodstock acid, too. What the fuck? Really? First off, was the speed at which it happened, like I said. Quicker than the blown nut scene. But, so there wasn't no way in hell anyone or anything actually listened to the goddamn show. It was literally moments after publishing. So there's the whole guilty before innocent thing, right? Kind of feel like a Southern black man in the 60s. Or if you prefer to widen the scope, a black man anywhere in 2015.
Well, you're still alive.
Well, if anyone had listened. Yes. But Adamizer, if anyone had listened, as you know, because you were there, they would have seen or heard, at least, in the case of, say, Dylan's When You're Gonna Wake Up, it's like 40 seconds of the song. while other audio is being dubbed over it in our intro. And with the Stones, Salt of the Earth, taking us out. Again, it's 33 seconds long, and the last 10 seconds of which I have at almost an inaudible level. And then there's just the whole ridiculousness that I guess anyone can actually own the 45 seconds of Lyndon Baines Johnson ordering his pants over the phone at the White House. All the way back to my bunghole. Anyway, not to mention that I like to think, Adamizer, we're a goddamn news show here. And for fuck's sake, if any president, alive or dead, sitting or not, is talking about how the inseam of his pants cut his nuts like sitting on a wire fence, if that isn't news, then I sure as shit don't know what is. In the defense of CD Baby, who was the one who actually filed that dispute, they're apparently claiming ownership over LBJ ordering pants, it was dropped almost as instantly as it was instated. So that one got cleared. However, thou can still go fuck thyself, CD Baby. Last but not least, we have the man in black, Johnny Cash. And okay, all right, at least here we might actually have a legit claim. I freely admit playing a song and in its entirety. However, Adamizer, and this is a pretty big however, that one, just because I thought this might happen, what I did instead of taking the version of the song that I already legally purchased and owned, I downloaded one from YouTube. One of the dozens of same versions uploaded by dozens of other users. Why is the video on YouTube in the first place? I'm pretty fucking sure that Johnny Cash didn't put it there, nor did anyone from Columbia Records or whoever the hell actually owns the rights to his tunes. Contradiction much, YouTube? And you, unlike us here in the front row, at least right now, and the podcast being on YouTube, are making money off these fraudulently uploaded videos through your over-the-top advertising. I submit your whole goddamn business model has been based on it, and 90% of the reason people even paid attention to your site was because they could go and listen to the Ballad of Ira Hayes for free. Two, this is just the type of shit that we're talking about here in the front row. Conspiracy? Maybe. Screwed? Definitely. What the fuck kind of country or world are we living in where a primarily news talk show that's almost 2 hours long can't take 1, 3 to 5 or 6 minute break to play a fucking song in homage to its artist or the song, as to turn more people on to that artist and thus actually promote the artist and try to help him make more money for the artist. But we can't because we didn't pay the megacorp that owns the rights to the artist's shit. Excuse me if I say that's like a Jack Horner party without the coke or the porn stars.
We're not making money at this. That's the thing that gets me. I mean, if we were somehow profiting, on the side from these artists' work or something like that, I could absolutely understand, at some level there being an issue with it. But we're, there's no profit here. Nobody's making any money. We're doing this, just to educate people, just to inform people. We don't make a dime. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Not a dime.
It's absolutely ridiculous that they should throw us to the wall over this kind of shit.
Let me tell you something. A few years back, right, I made a music video for a favorite song of mine called Ragged Old Truck by Billy Joe Shaver. I put the video together with the song. I had just had surgery. I was lying on my stomach for 2 weeks. Had a lot of time, made a nice video, and uploaded it. No problems, right? Now, I never monetized it, never tried to. And somehow, over the years, about 4 or 5 years, but it's gotten to about 225,000 hits, which is pretty good, much more than I ever thought, right?
Yep.
And now, after about the first year, after about the first 30 or 40,000 hits, wouldn't you know, there's advertising on it, right? I know that Billy Joe Shaver ain't seeing dime one from any revenue gain from that advertising. There's fucking soulless whores. So, in the end, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do, Adamizer. I know we'll need to discuss this matter a little bit further off air, but that was kind of my opening statement. I had to get off my chest there.
Fucked up shit.
So how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's cold. It's snowy. It's typical, but I don't complain about that shit anymore. I enjoy it. It's why I'm up here. I love it, and we'll just bust out the fucking shovels tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. All right. So, any opening remarks, Adamizer, before we kind of, I guess, get going along with the front row scuttlebutt, or how are you feeling? You want to get right into it? I guess we should.
Let's throw one thing out there. I just wanted to announce that I officially. I didn't shave. Okay, I'm anti-shaving. I believe any man that's going to shave, especially his beard, might as well go ahead and shave his vagina while he's at it. But but I did bust out the clippers today. Now I've been rocking the mountain man look with the beard down past my tits, and I busted out the clippers today. Took it down to the number 1 and got it all trimmed up and everything, and had a little fun messing with people. I put on a different shirt, something that people don't usually see me wearing, and some different sunglasses, and went around to see who'd recognize me and who didn't. But aside from the chin being a little bit cold, I'm happy. New look is good every once in a while, and I really was starting to get that whole been in the mountains too long look, and now I look like I'm at least half in civilization again. So I'm happy to say I'm back to my old look for a little while. See how long that lasts, and maybe it'll get warm soon, and I won't have to worry about my chin freezing.
Well, all right. I guess I just have 2 questions with that. Number 1 is what's your shirt size? Because if you only have one goddamn shirt, I'm going to send you one in the mail. And 2, did you thus end up shaving your vagina?
No. Again, there was no razor involved with any of the thing that I did.
Okay,
It's entirely clipper based. It's all just trimming it down, trimming it way down, but trimming it down.
So the vagina hair is still down to the knees.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, scraping the fucking dirt.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, I guess we should take a moment here, get a little station identification going. We do hope that any and all freaks that have the urging will give us a call at 646-668-8756. One more time, 646-668-8756. And if you're on the website, try to give us a chat. If you're on blogtalkradio.com/front show, there's a chat feature there. I have no idea how it works, but I'm sure if you hit chat, then I'm going to see it. So give it a shot. And let's see, the other ways to reach us. You will be happy to know, Adamizer, that we do officially have an email now. Actually, we've had it the whole time. I kind of forgot totally about it. And so it's going to sound very egotistical, but it is Crafty at Crafty at thefrontrow@thefreakshow.com. I made it up like 5 months ago, forgot about it, but it is there. So you can email us your questions now, and I start seeing Adamizer questions outweigh the Crafty questions, then we'll get Adamizer at Front Row at the Freak Show. But until then,
As long as I got a place to send shit.
It's the
fine.
one. And, of course, Front Row at thefreakshow.com. Front Row at the Freak Show on YouTube, which I don't know why the fuck you'd want to go there because I can't put any of my shit on it anyway. But we will. And, of course, Facebook. So, and then there is Adamizer1 or at Adamizer1 for you tweeters, and at the Freak Show also for you tweet heads. Anything else?
I think that's good.
All right. Well, all right. Okay, Adamizer. Some front row scuttlebutt.
Let's do it. Who's going? Who's going first? You want to go first?
What do you want? Yeah. I am so open. It's really unbelievable.
I took the lead last time. I think
you went first last week. Do you want me to start her off?
Go right ahead.
I've just been doing some yapping, so why don't you take it over for a little bit?
Sure, why not? Why not?
I just went on a little. Yes, please do.
If I must. All right. Well, I got a couple of stories for us today, and trying to keep a theme going through the scuttlebutt and later into the haranguing around. So the first story that I have here, and which one do I want to go with first? You know what? Let's go with the simpler one first and have a little fun with this. This story comes to us from, I got it from the Miami Herald. The title of the article, for those of you who want to check it out, is Navy judge named in discrimination complaint lifts Guantanamo female guard no-touch order. Okay? Not as sexy as it sounds, but we'll have a little fun with it. So it seems that there is a gentleman in that lovely paradise that is Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, who is a war crime suspect, and there's a military judge who has lifted a restraining order and is once again allowing female prison guards to touch this gentleman. Well, why wouldn't they be able to touch? Yes. But again, not in a very sexy way. See, what had happened was this lovely individual, let me see if they have his name here, yes, Abd al-Hadi, something unpronounceable. Anyways, 54-year-old gentleman from Iraq, and I use the word gentleman very loosely, as you all know. He invoked Islamic and traditional doctrine to say that he should only be handled by male guards at Guantanamo. And for a while they allowed that, and, again, now it looks like they're wavering a little bit. But, the main reason I bring this up is, what the fuck? I mean, first of all, I have a big issue with the anti-women aspect in most major religions. And it's pretty extreme when you're invoking your religious right not to even be touched by a female guard. In a place like fucking Guantanamo, you really shouldn't get a choice in that sort of thing anyway. But, the other thing that kind of bothers me about this is, what kind of self-respecting male individual doesn't want to be touched by a female? That's, I'm not to get on those types of guys who don't want to be touched by a female. That's their business, and it's, nothing wrong with that, as Jerry Seinfeld once said. But, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I mean, bad enough that he's arguing and fighting not to be touched by women, but to invoke it on religious basis really is an indictment of, not just Islam. You can find a lot of similar stuff in the Christian Bible.
As if we needed another.
A lot of things. Women are not very well respected, I think, in a lot of the religious texts and religious communities. I think this shit needs to stop. We need to start treating people like people. And, we need to really stop listening to such frivolous, silly complaints from fucking war criminals, suspected or otherwise. What they ought to do is lock this guy in a cell and just have a bunch of women soldiers line up and start touching the shit out of him. You know what I mean? If it bothers them that much. Let them,
Here's your 72 versions right here.
Yeah, let the punishment fit the crime. I think it's fucking ridiculous. We need to stop it.
Right, I found it. What I was laughing about was, treating people as people, as it relates to being in Gitmo, right?
Yeah.
Like that
exactly.
happens.
And there's certainly some irony there. And don't get me wrong, I'm first on the. You want to hand me a petition that says shut down Gitmo, I'll happily sign it. But in the meantime, we deal with the reality that we have. The people that are in there are, at least allegedly, some of the worst out there. People that even I might agree with the government, should probably be locked up. And at that point, this guy in particular, he's just, he's proven the case there. He's saying, women shouldn't be allowed to touch me because I'm an all-holy male. Go fuck yourself. That shit's ridiculous to me.
Right on.
Anyway, that's about all I have to say on that particular story. On a not too dissimilar note, I have another story coming to us. This one is from the Washington Post. This one is entitled, and I shit you not, "These Americans Return to Iraq as Christian Warriors Against Islamic State." Okay? I'm going to repeat that for those of you who didn't quite catch the gist. These Americans return to Iraq as Christian warriors against Islamic State. Okay? There's a lovely photo of a young douchebag here who's got his lip pierced and everything, and he's wearing it looks like a makeshift little turban thing, though he's dressed up full American style, a little flag on his chest, and a nice rifle in his hand, and full camo gear. And apparently, what's going on is we now have people, former soldiers in particular, who are going back to Iraq to fight ISIS and other Islamic state groups on behalf of Jesus, right? Now, okay, all right, ISIS is, I'm going to go with the flow here and say that ISIS has done some pretty fucked up shit. They do need to be stopped, and, people who want to stop them, go ahead. If you want to go ahead and go do that, that's fine. But to do it in the name of Jesus is just a little bit fucking hypocritical to me, okay? This guy is actually quoted here in the article as saying, Jesus tells us what you do unto the least of them, you do unto me, he says, right? This is the gentleman in the picture there. Brett is the only, he wouldn't give his last name, just Brett, okay? Hell of a name, too, Brett. That's one of those, nice, strong, 2015 kind of names, and of course I'm being sarcastic here. Brett. What the fuck is Brett? You know what I mean? Anyway.
Used to be a last name,
He goes on to say, I couldn't sit back and watch what was happening, women being raped and sold wholesale, okay? And, it's funny because this really struck some sort of memory chord with me. And, I long ago in one of my former lives, in the last however many years, I won't give away my age, I was actually a preacher. I wasn't entirely sold on the Bible, but it's what I was taught about, and so I kind of got into it. And, preaching the word. And I remember, from all of those days, because of all of the bullshit that I had to sell to people, I remember the bad parts. I remember a lot of the bad parts. And one of those bad parts was Exodus chapter 21, verse 7. One of my all-time favorites when it comes to my beloved hatred of the Bible these days. But here's I'm just going to read it to you real quick. Chapter verse 7, and go on from there. And if a man sells his daughter, this is the word of God, and if a man sells his daughter to be a female slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who has betrothed her to himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. She shall have no right to sell her. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt deceitfully with her. And if he has betrothed her to his son, he shall deal with her according to the custom of daughters. If he takes another wife, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, and her marriage rights. And if he does not do these three for her, then she shall go out free without paying money. Okay, I'm going to sum that up real quick. God says you can sell your daughters into sexual slavery. This is the Christian Bible, people. This is the kind of shit that people go every Sunday and praise as the word of fucking God. And this guy, this Brett, this fucking Jesus freak with his little lip ring bullshit, is over there in Iraq defending women from being raped and sold because what? Because it's not under Jesus' name, it's under Allah's name? Is that the fucking problem he has? Because if you ever bothered to read his Bible, he supports the same goddamn shit. All right? Wake up, people. It's fake. It's written by shepherds who knew dick all about the world. It was probably their snuff porn. It probably wasn't even supposed to be their fucking spiritual guide. All right? Using this shit as a guide to morality and imposing it upon your children and indoctrinating them into it, you ought to be foot and fucking gitmo and touched by women, touched by men, touched by anybody with a fucking pointy stick. All right? Sick of it. Drop it. Move the fuck on. Grow up. Because these ideas should never have, we're living in a world run by ideas, religious ideas that should never have survived a kindergarten education. And, that's all I'm going to say about it is stop it. Fucking stop it. That's my take on this. And, as usual, I'm going to be angry guy, but, this kind of shit makes me angry. It's ridiculous, the hypocrisy, the fucking bullshit. Read your own book for once.
Yes. Well, yes. It's instantly reminded me of a quote right there that I'm not going to be able to pull or something like that. It was, it's like Christians who, don't read the Bible or this, a Christian who reads the Bible is an atheist or something, whatever.
Yeah.
But, Adamizer, that, was from Exodus, which, it was a really crazy time back then, and, there was locusts and plagues and people flashing or slapping blood across their door and, firstborns getting killed and, so really crazy time. So, can't really hold it against them that much.
Well,
I'm just a real crazy time in general. But
I hear this. One thing I hear a lot when I'm arguing with the faithful, particularly the Christians, is this concept that the Old Testament doesn't count, that the New Testament somehow overruled all of it. And again, read your fucking Bibles. Jesus did not come to rebuke the law. He came to fulfill the law, okay? He's talking about the Old Testament. He told you repeatedly, and I could cite the verses if I don't have them handy. Follow every word of the law. Follow every word of the Old Testament, okay? It is bullshit to try to separate the two. And if you really want to pigeonhole me, you want to stick me into the place where I can only attack the New Testament, why don't you go look up those two verses where he specifically tells you that you should kill your kids for cursing their parents. This is Jesus' words. This is the man you worship. The only thing redeemable in that whole book is the simple golden rule, and you don't need the fucking book or Jesus or anything else to know it's a good idea not to treat people in ways you wouldn't want to be treated yourself.
Awesome. I'm only saddened by the fact that it's only appearing here in the scuttlebutt. Obviously, I'm sure there's a main haranguing around rant section or two or three that will be on this very topic. So at least as far as religiously speaking, I think we're on the same page. So I'll leave it at that in the interest of time. But excellent. Were those the two? You got any more?
Yeah, those are the two I got. Yeah, you're up.
All right. It's gonna be hard to. Like I said, that was a doozy right there, and but I think it is going to be a good tie-in to all the stuff that we're talking about later. But anyway, just for you freaks listening out there and want to call in, and maybe you take objection to what the Adamizer just had to say about our Lord and Jesus, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ,
Bring it.
God.
Bring it on.
646-668-8756. If you do, and 646-668-8756 if you don't. So, all right. So I got a couple items myself, and then a tidbit. So 2 and 1, I guess. But these two are relatively fresh, hot off the presses stories here that, though not necessarily related in any way, certainly point in the same kind of direction, and at least myself here in the front row asking the question, exactly when was it we were taken over by North Korea? So the first was a story, it was published yesterday on WorldNet Daily, and it was titled Feds Raid Texas Political Meeting. And apparently there's a group in Texas called the Republic of Texas. And basically they believe and are striving for the state of Texas to secede from the Union. And oddly enough, it's an idea that you are now seeing bantered around in a lot of states more and more these days. But anyway, they were having a meeting recently with about 60 members when roughly 20 local, state, and federal authorities, armed to the teeth, got their raid on. According to the article, quote, in the end, at least 20 officers corralled, fingerprinted all 60 meeting attendees before seizing all cell phones and recording equipment in a Valentine's Day 2015 raid on the Texas separatist group, end quote. Now, what were the charges that required such a display of force? Well, basically, from the way I read it, 2 of the members of this group, what they did was they simulated real court documents. Basically, I don't know, maybe downloaded them off the internet or something like that to use them as a template. So they could then use them and send to a real banker and a real judge what looked like a real summons over a real foreclosure case. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Like they took what looked like real court documents and kind of made them their own.
All I can think of is the fake parking tickets you see every once in a while, the joke parking tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of the same things. That's what they did. So, they needed something that looked official. They took court documents and then they put their stuff in it and issued summons to these 2 people. Again, a banker and a judge. So I guess this group in many ways acts like the secession has already happened, and they've created their own currency and government and court system. So this was their way of serving these other 2, their made-up, serving these other 2 summonses for their, kind of their made-up court. So basically what we're talking about is a misdemeanor, forging court documents. And it's exactly these stories, my fellow freaks, that show just how far we have fallen. Only 2 people committed this alleged crime, a misdemeanor, and they knew full well who they were because, well, they put their names right on them. And the response is 20 fully armed officers, and I'm sure in full riot tactical gear and the whole works. I'm surprised they didn't haul out the MRAP, to be honest with you. Maybe they haven't received their freebie yet from the military. But it's this shit right here. And it happens a lot. And, of course, it's happening, surprise, surprise, more and more. Because we don't say shit about it. And we let it keep happening. What misdemeanor are you going to commit and find a SWAT team at your door? Or the spot that once was your door after it's been kicked in? And the circular logic for the show of force is even more maddening. Authorities say it was needed due to the potential physical resistance with the 60 people on hand, and especially with some of the members being, and I quote, extremists. Oddly enough, I kind of agree. You show up to a group of 60 with 20 Rambos, and there certainly is the potential for resistance. Here's an idea. How about you send a squad car over to the homes of the 2 people that actually did what you think they did and arrest them or serve them a summons or whatever you need to do? What do you think? A lot less potential to get out of hand?
It's pure fear-mongering, man. I mean, again, they want us to be afraid. It's Alan Moore said it best. Governments, people should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Of course. And the lunacy, Adamizer, just ensued with the actual warrant for the raid. I mean, fingerprinting everybody, seizing their cell phones and any and all media devices. And the warrant actually called for DNA swabs of everyone that was there. But for some reason, they didn't do that. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? It's insane.
I'll
and
tell
this
you, they
is
show
where
up
we
in,
have to start.
They show up in my house.
We have to start putting our
swab right on
The time has come for someone to put his foot down. And that foot is me.
But it truly is insane. And, I mean, for instance, if I'm a Bryan, this happened in Bryan, Texas, and if I live in Bryan, Texas, I'm asking, how much is this little raid costing us to serve 2 people for misdemeanors? Right? And that's just question number 1 in a long list of them. So, story number 2 comes from Infowars.com, which by itself is a little bit interesting, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. But mind-blowing, to say the least. It was reported in the UK publication The Guardian, and I don't know if you caught this, pretty hot off the presses, but it was discovered or learned that the Chicago police have been using this warehouse for an illegal detention center where they would hold U.S. citizens, regular old freaks like you and I, in a CIA-style black site, where abuses include, and this is direct from the Guardian article, keeping arrestees out of official booking databases, beating by police resulting in head wounds, shackling for prolonged periods, denying attorneys access to the secure facility, holding people without legal counsel for between 12 and 24 hours, including people as young as 15, and at least one man was found unresponsive in the interview room and later pronounced dead. I don't know. Do I need to say anything else here? I mean, if this doesn't literally scare the fucking crap out of you, then you're officially dead. I mean, you really might as well lay your ass down in a coffin right now and close the fucking door behind you. I mean, you've got to read the article, okay? Naturally, Chicago Police Department is either not responding or denying any and all accusations. And kudos to the Guardian, because they tracked down like ex-cops and others that might have knowledge, but they all sort of, either didn't believe it or denied it themselves. However, there are attorneys quoted as calling it a, quote, an open secret, and detailing episodes involving their clients over the past several years. Lawyers described mad scrambles that led to the closed doors of the warehouse in Holman Square. And here's my point. Would you really be surprised that this is all 100% true? And if that's the case, then it's probably only the very tip of a truly disturbing iceberg. But, it came out end of last year about the torture practices our military and security agencies have been using for years abroad and at places like your first story in Gitmo. in the scam known as the War on Terror. You've heard of trickle-down economics? Well, this is trickle-down information gathering tactics. Police forces are filled with ex-military, as we all know by now. Example in my first story, SWAT teams are used for nonviolent offenders. And military gear and equipment is being handed out all across the country. So I ask again, would you really be surprised? And if it's true, you know that there's at least one of these places in every major metropolitan area in the country. And second point, and this goes to both of my stories, and kind of how I said that they both go in the same direction, is that where the hell is Fox or CNN or MSNBC or Huffington Post on either of these? Nowhere, mon frere. That's where. Google or Bing either one of these stories and see if or where they pop up on the pages for reporting either of them. And that's why I mentioned InfoWars. There was an actual protest in Chicago over the weekend about this story, and InfoWars sent a reporter there from Texas. And as he put it, only a couple other small local news guys were there, and they mostly stayed in their vans the whole day. Yeah, it wasn't a big protest, I guess. There was a couple hundred people, which in and of itself kind of says something. But, what's it take, folks? What's it take? Anyway, again, check out InfoWars. They have some video on it. Check out the Guardian article. And go pick yourself up a North Korean flag and wave that fucker proud. All right, lastly and real quick, Adamizer, you probably could guess, but just to let you know, I always hate it when news channels spend a lot of time on, of airtime on celebrities when they die, right?
Oh, yeah.
Unless, of course, it's like a TMZ or something, which I don't watch TMZ, so it's fine. But like when Robin Williams died recently, right? Good Lord Almighty, heavenly kingdom above. It was nonstop.
Yep.
And I understand a mention, maybe, for really big stars, I guess, but half the friggin' show? And it's kind of freaked up, however, because it's the same reason that I would really never spend any time on this show devoted to covering why mainstream media news spends so much time on their frivolous dribble, or fribble. And it's the very reason why I can't stand mainstream media spending so much time on the fribble in the first place, which is there's bigger fish to fry, don't you think? So much crazy-ass shit going on in the world, and you're spending 12 of 22 minutes of your news show on some guy's acting career? See? I'm falling into the trap here myself. But I will fall no further, except to say, with all that said, I would be remiss if I did not give a big old front row Vulcan salute to Lenny Nimoy. May your soul live long and prosper wherever it's hanging out right now, you pointy-eared freak.
He was a good man, and just to chime in on that real quickly to say, he has some great quotes out there on atheism, on a lot of other subjects as well. All I could think of when I heard the news was that scene from the Star Trek movie with Shatner saying, "Of all the souls I've ever known, his was the most human." But we're going to miss that guy a hell of a lot. He was, great body of work, and, my condolences to the family, and that's about all I'm going to say on it.
Absolutely. I'm going to actually, I got one more thing to kind of say about it, I guess, but 646-668-8756. We're going to take our first break. Crafty at frontrow@thefreakshow.com, at Adamizer1, at The Freak Show, all the ways to find us. But let's go ahead and take our first break. I'm going to switch things up. I'm going to go music first. I just happened to come across this silly little thing. It's only a couple minutes long. But in honor of the late Lenny Nimoy, I give you the Spock highly illogical song. So